Hello, my Juicy co-creators. Lilou here in San Diego, South California on the Juicy Living Tour. And definitely when we have relationship conversation, especially with John Gray, this is definitely, the tour gets juicier and juicier and juicier by the minute. Thank you so much for accepting to do this interview here while you were actually having this meeting with the Transformational Leadership Council. So it's fantastic that you took the time. Thank you. I so appreciate.
I'm so excited about doing an interview with you because everything about good relationships is keeping the juice flowing. So we need to keep juicy. I like that.
Yeah, on all levels, because I interviewed you many years ago with my little flip camera, and those videos just went like wild. And if you haven't seen them, check them out, because we spoke of the law of attraction and relationship, and of course your book that many couples have read and many women put in the hands of their men.
Yes.
Women are from Mars, women are from Venus. Well, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Awesome. How many millions of copies sold?
Probably around 40 million of that book, but all the books about 50 million. Because there's a whole series. There's Mars Venus on a date, there's Mars Venus in the bedroom, there's Mars Venus together forever. So I created a lot of books based on those principles of how men and women are different. Without an understanding of those differences in a positive way and an ability to appreciate those differences, we tend to, when we miscommunicate, we tend to judge each other, get upset about each other, reject each other, and then we create a relationship that reflects that judgment rather than having a positive way to understand our differences, which then creates a foundation to be able to communicate so our partners can really understand us and the love can flow again.
Yes. So I know your work has evolved in many different directions, and I was really thrilled to see your new website and to see your daughter on there, Lauren, and that she's getting involved, and that there's all those sections on and those video blogs even. So if you want more content, and more juice, there's plenty there. But and you also speak of sex and having great sex and great relationship, and I'm definitely interested to get in that conversation. But also the whole nutrition aspect is very big. Tell us about that.
Well, if you love someone, when you love someone, it all starts out fine. But if you don't have the right hormonal balance, if you don't have the right nutrition to create the hormones naturally, then suddenly you become moody, suddenly you lose your libido, interest in sex starts to go away, or interest in sex with somebody else starts to increase. And so this creates a dynamic tension in the relationship. And most importantly, to know that when you first fall in love, the brain chemicals and hormones that get produced are the same hormones if you were taking cocaine. So it literally is like a drug high. But in a sense, it's God's gift. It's a glimpse of what you can create together. But after a few years, you don't get those automatic brain chemicals because what stimulates them is the newness and the challenge. When newness goes away and challenge goes away, suddenly your dopamine levels begin to drop a bit. And so that's the passion brain chemical. And then there's the brain chemical serotonin, which is the optimistic brain chemical, where you're full of hope and, oh, look how wonderful they are. And when serotonin levels are up, you always find your partner more attractive, and you tend to be more flexible and accepting of limitations. You don't even see them as limitations. You see it as kind of cute. But after a while, when history sets in, so length of relationship decreases serotonin, the automatic free serotonin you get when a relationship is new, because you have no history. The first time they're late, you go, oh, next time they won't be late. But when it's 30 times down the line, your brain remembers that, and that inhibits the production of serotonin. So there's kind of an artificial high at the beginning of a relationship, but it's truly what we can accomplish. Now, I've been married 28 years, and we have never been happier. And our sex life is fantastic, and I have more sex today than I had when I was 35 and I married my wife here at 62 years old.
Nice.
Yeah, but it takes work. And it doesn't have to be challenging work, meaning you struggle. It's just good work. It's like I'm always working. I love my work, and I love the work I do in my relationship. And I have off time, too. I have vacation time. So it doesn't have to be a struggle for people. But we have to work smart. We have to understand each other. And one of the first obstacles is couples, the first few years, it's so automatic. Then when that goes away, they think, oh, I've lost it. As opposed to realizing I didn't develop the skills to stimulate dopamine, to stimulate serotonin, as well as take the right nutrition to provide the foundation for it. So in America, we have 1 out of 5 women are on antidepressants. I mean, who knew that? And most people don't know in the workplace, women's stress levels are twice as high as men's. And when they come home, their stress levels on average, and this is not just America, it's also Europe, On average, they're 4 times higher than men's. What's happening to women today, which is why I wrote the most recent book, which is Work With Me, is helping women understand why the work world is more stressful for them. It all has to do with an understanding of our hormones. When you're in a relationship and you feel romance and like in sex, if you have foreplay, you have great orgasm, right? If you have foreplay, you have time, you feel relaxed, the environment is beautiful, you have fantastic orgasm. That's produced by a hormone called oxytocin. Now, women tend to run out of oxytocin very quickly. And when you're in the workplace, testosterone inhibits the production of oxytocin. So anytime you feel like you're in a hurry or a deadline and you're being challenged and you're doing something you don't really love to do, testosterone gets produced. Testosterone helps lower stress for men, but testosterone inhibits oxytocin for women. This doesn't mean that women can't be doing those tough jobs. It just means that women have to make sure they find balance in their life, doing the types of behaviors that stimulate oxytocin, which is why when it comes to relationship, and men are from Mars and women are from Venus, one of the great gifts of it is teaching women how to communicate to men so men will listen, and teaching men the importance of listening to a woman. Because when a woman feels seen and heard and validated for who she is, no judgment on his part, then suddenly her oxytocin levels go up. So we can find a balance in this new paradigm of relationships where men and women are both working side by side, and in the home we're interacting more side by side, but we have to be careful. Our brains, our hormones are not the same. We have different needs, different priorities, and the man who can be aware of that can provide so much support for the woman in his life, and the woman who's aware that men are just not trained to provide this kind of support, then suddenly a woman can shift a few things, help him be successful in helping her feel better. And that's the message that I have. So much of the time is let's not worry about men, let's worry more about women, since today their stress levels are much higher. What can a woman do to stop doing things for him and instead create an opportunity for him to be successful in doing things for her? And that's a shift in our thinking.
Mm-hmm. And related to the food portion, is there some particular ingredients you're saying? Or?
Oh, absolutely. So first thing we have to know is that much of our food products today have soy in them. And soy dramatically interferes with the absorption of nutrients in your body and the production of brain chemicals. Soy produces estrogen in the body. The estrogen then suppresses testosterone in men. So men gradually lose their libido. And so we have to fight that. We have to learn new ways to kick that out of your body. Now, on my website, I recommend certain Chinese herbs, also dietary things. There's lots of cruciferous vegetables. Occasionally going on a cleanse. I go on a cleanse like this year, a 30-day cleanse. So I come back to feeling my abs. I feel strong. My testosterone levels are 25% higher than when they were when I was a young man.
Most juice or total?
All kinds of cleanses. The one I did this year was basically more the Chinese cleanse, which is bone soup. Just bone soup, vegetables, and you cook the bones for 24 hours. It's magnificent because it has all the nutrients and the stem cells to rebuild your body, rebuild your vitality. Others could be a juice fast. More green juices are better. You have to be careful, not too much sugar. So there's a lot of different programs for cleansing to get these extra estrogens. When women in our today's society with plastics and fertilizers and pesticides, all these things have what they create xenoestrogens in the body, which suppress in women progesterone. So a lot of women go for hormone replacement, which doesn't do anything to solve the problem, makes the problem worse over time, temporary release. But what we want to do is actually get to the cause of the problem, which is too much of these xenoestrogens in the body and helping to kick them out. Otherwise, the progesterone levels start dropping more and more. So there's a lot of dynamics here, which is cleansing is one of the ways to find hormonal balance. But there's also a lack of knowledge of simple supplements that have a huge impact. And that's what I focus on in my website, is those things that are kind of under the radar. I'll give you one example, lithium. Now, if you're bipolar, they give you lithium. And it only works if you give a person toxic doses. So now it's considered a drug. It's really just a mineral like calcium or magnesium. But when we eat sugar, carbohydrates, or we're under stress, or you happen to be a genius and your brain is working faster, you run out of lithium faster. So all of the great geniuses of history always had basically bipolar symptoms or obsessive compulsive symptoms or alcoholics and drug addicts because their brain would become depleted using their genius. I believe falling in love is genius. Sustaining love is genius. And when we are in love, we use up more minerals than our food provides. So like when people get married, they call it the first year of marriage, the average weight gain for women is 9 or 11 pounds. And I just see it with women. What happened is that whole expectation, positive thinking, falling in love. The world is beautiful. The world is great. Here's this amazing man, and she's in love, and he's in love with her. What happens is that's a genius state on the level of relationships. And what happens, it depletes your body of these nutrients. We have to supplement because our food today is deficient in these extra minerals. So one of those minerals, which is under the radar, is lithium. Everybody needs lithium, but not lithium carbonate, which is what doctors prescribe. Now, some people what we need is lithium orotate, which is a different form of lithium that has no side effects, no danger, and no need for high doses. Just a little bit of lithium orotate from 10 to 20 milligrams a day. And if you're super genius or you're depressed, one or the other, they go hand in hand, then go with 15 in the morning, 15 in the evening. That's a tiny, tiny bit. And when people hear about the toxic side effects of lithium, it's the same thing as salt. If you were to do 50 times the dose of salt, it would be toxic. If you were to take 50 times the dose of magnesium, you'd have diarrhea. If you were to take 50 times the dose of potassium, you'd have a heart attack. These are all very vital, important minerals, just like lithium is. But the medical industry has sort of monopolized on toxic doses of lithium carbonate that doesn't work very well unless it's at toxic doses. And so they only give it to severe cases. I have like several women here at this conference. They're teaching positive thinking, and yet they're on antidepressants. In Utah, in the United States, you probably didn't know this, the Mormon religion is a beautiful religion. They think really positive, and they're doing all the right things because one of the most important things for women and well-being is social interactions. So they're very social. They're very family-oriented. There's a lot of support. They cook for each other. They help each other. And yet 1 out of 3 people in Utah, 1 out of 3 women is on an antidepressant. What is going on? But practicing positive thinking actually depletes your brain of lithium. And now you don't have the actual raw material to make the serotonin, so it doesn't work, and so you go on an antidepressant. Once you go on an antidepressant, the reason it's a drug is it has side effects. And one of the side effects of an antidepressant for everyone who takes it is your cortisol levels double. So now you're more stressed. And elevated cortisol, as we talked in the beginning, stress interferes with everything in a relationship. If you're stressed, you just don't have the energy or the ability to see how beautiful and wonderful your partner is and to feel all those juicy feelings again. It's to come back to the juice. And so what happens is when you're always trying to be positive, if you don't have the actual nutrition that makes you feel, that is the foundation of those brain chemicals, those positive brain chemicals, then you can't make it. So that you take an antidepressant, not only does it raise your stress level so your body starts degenerating faster, but it changes your brain and it downregulates what's called serotonin receptor sites. So now your ability to be happy in the future over time gradually diminishes more and more. Taking super minerals, which I talk about as other minerals bonded to uric acid, it will cross the blood barrier, raise these receptor sites, and suddenly your brain functions in a way that can support your positive thinking. Every enlightened, positive, creative genius needs to understand this. And we're living in a world now where our children are geniuses. There's so much consciousness. All the people watching your show, juiciness, let's go for the whole gusto. This is genius. People lived in a world of sacrifice and burden and subjugation to authority and buying into the system. We're people that want to step out of that box, think big. But when you think big, you also have to eat better. And recognizing the food doesn't give us all the nutrition we need as well.
Awesome advice. Really, I love how you really get into it in details, and I'm sure there's a lot more. How about in the bedroom? How about to live this great sex life?
Oh, yeah,
There's some little other ingredients in the bedroom, or because women keep on adding some little things to turn their men's on, but is that really something that is the best that a woman can do?
Well, what happens is there's always newness stimulates testosterone, dopamine in men. Whenever something's new and challenging, dopamine goes up, which creates interest, and then that allows testosterone to go up, which creates desire. Now, what I mentioned before is high levels of estrogen suppress testosterone in men. The average, and most people don't know this, the average 50-year-old man has half the testosterone levels he had when he was a young man. Now, keep in mind, I'm 62. Mine are 25% higher. If you study indigenous cultures, men's testosterone levels do not go down. We've accepted this as kind of a norm today, but actually it's quite new in history that men's testosterone levels go down, which means their interest in sex goes down. A man theoretically should be interested in sex every morning, but give it a break every other day is my suggestion, so that you miss it a bit and so that she's missing it a bit. But to keep that libido active, a man needs healthy testosterone levels. So one of the things that suppresses testosterone is high estrogen levels. Also soy, and soy, they're feeding soy to the chickens. So eat chicken, testosterone levels go down. They're feeding it to the cattle, the estrogens and soy. The estrogen, they made to make the cattle bigger. The soy is their feed because it's a cheap feed. Soy suppresses, not only does it cause estrogen, but it also inhibits the absorption of zinc. Now, zinc is necessary to make testosterone. So that's why they say oysters are an aphrodisiac, because oysters have a lot of zinc in them. And so we have to take zinc supplements. Once again, zinc orotate is something that will get into the cells as opposed to the regular zinc products are usually water soluble. They just go through your body. So you have to find the right kind of zinc, and you need to take plenty of zinc, one. Two is so many, like 1 out of 3 men in America over 40 are doing Viagra or Cialis. These are like to give them erections. What they don't know is simply taking 6 grams of arginine plus these super minerals will suddenly bring it all back. And it will help raise the testosterone levels. So that's on the physical level. On the emotional level, what a woman has to do is be smart. Okay, she knew in the beginning he made all the moves, right? And then his testosterone goes down, his motivation to make the moves is less. So what she does, and the most powerful stimulator of dopamine and testosterone in men, is to feel I'm successful in making you smile. I have the power to make you happy. So what a woman has to do is help him succeed in making her happy, not faking it. What makes her happy? So on a practical level, it's plan your dates, women. That's the most important thing. Plan your dates a week in advance, and don't go a week without this. See, women often come to me and say, there's no romance. And I say, when was the last date you planned? You know, they're waiting for him to do it because in the beginning he did that, but then he stops. And, I'm talking to the women who want more testosterone in their man. This is what they can do. So on a week in advance, you say to your partner, oh, there's this event happening next weekend. There's this event happening next weekend, or there's this next weekend, and I'd love to do any of them. You pick and let me know what we should do. So you let him make the decision, because if he makes the decision, men always take credit if they make the decision. And if you're happy, he takes credit for your happiness. If you're unhappy, then he feels like he failed, which is why men give up making decisions, because he never knows, is this going to make her happy or not? So if women don't realize this, like once you go on that date, that's like putting forth your best self. He's putting forth his best self. He knows he can pick any of those 3 things. It's a no-lose situation. He picks it. She's going to be happy. He's going to feel successful. That's the key to it, is helping him get the message he can make her happy. That will raise his dopamine and raise his testosterone. When he anticipates being successful, his testosterone levels will go up all week. And when she anticipates being treated in a special way, getting her attention, getting her way, she's the center of the world for 2 hours a week. That's it. Women are always thinking of everybody else. 2 hours a week, anticipating this is about me. I get to dress up. I get to wear my jewelry. I get to get my hair done. I get to feel good, do something I like to do. I'm going to interact with people. My husband, my partner is going to take me. I'm the center of attention. Women have to learn to fully receive at those times, just like in the bedroom. It's like practicing, but that date will create huge amounts of oxytocin that makes her responsive to his sexual advances. Because after a while, men will have sex with a woman and she's not fully responding. His body just goes, forget it. It just turns off. My belief is at least, as you're getting in your 50s and 60s, it changes a little bit. But she needs to have an orgasm at least once a week, or if not every 2 weeks, for a man to stay sexually engaged with her. And you can't fake it. You can pretend to fake it, but his body knows. Because when a woman has an orgasm, and this is in animals and everybody, this is programmed into us. When orgasm occurs in the vagina, it will bowl up, and then it will contract, and that's to push out the sperm of any other animals that have put their sperm in there. In the past, when an animal goes into heat, many males will come. And at the point when she finds the right male, this is called sperm competition. Anybody can read about it. But all the sperm are competing to make the baby. When her body says, this is the right male for me, that's the alpha male, her body will orgasm. And the orgasm, it expands and it tightens. And it shoots all the other sperm out. And then he comes back in and his sperm wins the prize. That's all physiological. But his body knows when you have a climax, that means you've acknowledged him as the alpha male. And that makes a man feel great. It empowers him. It raises his testosterone. So he has to feel successful in bed. So now, how do women do that? They have to make sure they're making enough oxytocin to have that climax and to learn to relax and let him do it. Learn to ask for what she wants in the bedroom. So there's lots of ways so the man never feels sexually rejected, because you may not be in the mood. So you just set up, honey, sometimes I'm not in the mood, but I'm still enjoying sex. So let's do what I call cuddles for quickies. 10 minutes, you just lie there naked, kiss, hug, whatever, just cuddling and just touching. That then arouses him. And don't touch his penis at all. Let his penis come up all on its own. So you are actually having that effect on him just by your presence, by your beauty, by your radiance. That stimulates more oxytocin in you, that you're having that influence on him. It also allows him to feel his bond to you. So 10 minutes of not really getting into the sex part, but getting into, and not even the foreplay part. It's really about lying together and cuddling and looking in each other's eyes, kissing around, a little bit of fondling, a little bit of touching, till he's fully erect. And when some guys touch him anywhere and they're fully erect. That's a younger man who's got plenty of testosterone. But even then, let her 10 minutes of just cuddling and affection or whatever, and then go at it. And at that point, she's gotten what she needs, and therefore his body will feel successful, even if she's not fully in the mood for an orgasm. Because what women have to know, and what men have to know, is that when it comes to orgasm, women are so different. But as an average, there's a lot of exceptions for this, but as an average, women are like the moon when it comes to orgasm. The moon is sometimes full. And when it's full, she wants her orgasm and she needs the stimulation for it. And if she doesn't get it, she's not going to be that satisfied. But other times, the half moon, she doesn't know if she's in the mood for sex. She doesn't know if she's going to have an orgasm. So in that 10 minutes of cuddling, she might discover that I am in the mood. And the way she lets him know is this, because sometimes talking is hard for people in the bedroom, and it's a good skill to learn. But just if you don't have that skill, all she has to do is move his hand to her nipples or move his hand down south to her clitoris. And she just moves his fingers and kind of helps him find it. Some men don't even know where it is. So, they'll be touching somewhere else, and they touch for maybe a minute, and they think that's enough, when really a good 10 minutes will allow most women to rise to climax. Some women have never climaxed because they never had a man first cuddle them for a while, love them a bit, and then touch their clitoris for a good 10 minutes.
And your daughter really gets into this too on the site. There's many videos. Lauren, right? She's 27 and really going at it. Huh?
Well, she's a coach, and she helps women her age, and so she goes into the details of it. She also have a section on winning moves, because her boyfriend, whenever he does the right thing, she writes about it and she explains to men. So it's really fun. I read it and learn some things too.
Yeah. How to deal also with being single, huh?
It's all about being single. And, I've written books on being single and so forth, Mars, Venus on a Date, but she's living it. And so, and all the people that come to her are single. My message is a lot more about keeping the passion alive in a marriage and good communication. But I'm expanding now with the last 10 years focusing in the workplace, because, most of us spend most of our lives in the workplace. And the workplace was designed by men for men. It's not against women. It was just not for women. So because it's not supportive of it's not supportive of the values that women bring to the workplace. Here's one example. Personal fulfillment is a female value. Sacrifice is a male value. Men throughout history, they went to war, they sacrificed their lives. They went to the coal mines. They did the jobs that were painful or difficult, and they didn't mind doing it. They sacrificed because there was reward that would help the woman they loved, the children they loved. It would help the family. So men are more designed for sacrifice, for reward out here. But women are constantly engaged in personal relationships based upon reciprocity of, I want to support your personal fulfillment and you're supporting my personal fulfillment. I'm nurturing you, you're nurturing me. And even this is in the body even designed. What they found is that the stress response in women is not fight or flight. That's for men primarily. Women have a little bit of that. The primary response for women is to tend and befriend. So when women are under stress, the first thing they want to do is help somebody and give to them, be friends with them, and receive from them. And this is the oxytocin cycle, is that when a woman gives freely, unconditional love, unconditional friendship, nurturing, it releases her oxytocin. That lowers her stress. And then she receives back, and that increases her oxytocin. So it's a cycle. But when women are in the workplace where you're giving it all, but nobody's personally giving back to you, when there's not friendship, when there's not nurturing, then it doesn't rebuild her oxytocin. Now, before the workplace fully changes, women have to learn to balance work with home, so they're always anticipating getting that nurturing at home, and that can help rebuild her oxytocin. But the ideal paradigm we're looking at is a workplace that supports feminine values and male values, and then it'll be a much better place for everybody. Less sacrifice, more personal fulfillment in your job. You know, often women leave the workplace because men will say things like, just suck it up and do it. And a woman says, well, you know, can't we find another way we can all get what we need and also be of service to others? And there's just not room for that. But in my Work With Me book, it helps men truly begin to shift their awareness. There's so many things that men don't even know about women that once you start to know it, the value of women in the workplace goes up. Then as that goes up, then a lot of the ideas that women can bring to the table will be appreciated more as well.
Let's work with me.
That's Work With Me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, John. I loved this conversation. I know we can continue for hours. Oh my goodness, you have so much knowledge in this area. I look forward to doing another one and another one. But for now,
and for now, I just want people, every day I do an hour and a half talk and answer people's questions at my website. Yeah. So it's people can access the information whenever.
So unlimited resources there. There's really, I love the looks too of the look of your new website. Congratulations for all your work throughout all these years and your dedication to transformation. You're definitely a leader in the field of relationship. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you to you, my beautiful co-creators, for watching, for sharing, for supporting, for spreading these powerful messages out into the world and in the bedrooms. Big kisses. Bye bye.